What's going on guys, Bunks here and welcome back to the channel. Seeing as we're nearing the end of 2022 and it's unlikely that we're going to be seeing any major No Man's Sky update before the end of the year, apart from the rerun of the expeditions of course, I thought I'd compile a wish list of new features I'd love to see added to the game in 2023. As you know, I always love to hear your thoughts as well, so if there are any new features that you'd also love to see added to No Man's Sky next year but I haven't mentioned in this video, why don't you leave a comment below. Now some of the items on this wish list are fairly realistic, while some of them may come across as totally unrealistic, but hey, that's what a wish list is for, right? And without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. So the first thing I want to talk about are No Man's Sky assets, and more specifically the ones we see on planets, so that covers everything from creatures to plants, rocks, grass, terrain and buildings that we see on the planet's surface and under the planet's water. Now, if like me that you've been playing No Man's Sky for a long time, you've more than likely flown down to a planet where they look fairly similar to one you've already been to. Not exactly the same, but pretty familiar. Well, I personally would love to see the game artists over at Hello Games create a whole batch of brand new assets that could be added to the existing roster, and then procedural generation could then work its magic to make the planets even more unique. It would be a similar sort of update to that of Origins, which was a game changer in itself, and as Origins was released over 2 years ago but we haven't had any major updates since then that include changes to assets to create a more varied universe, I think it's about time that we're due a new similar sort of update. This update could also include new buildings to find on planets, as we haven't had any kind of update like that since the Frontiers update earlier last year. What do you guys think? Would you love to see another Origins and Frontiers type update to make the planets even more unique and varied, including new flora, fauna, terrain, building assets and so on? Let me know in the comments below. I suppose this update could also include planets that have various biomes all in one. Say you have deserts around the equator and snow and ice areas on the poles and things like forests and all sorts of things going on throughout the rest of it. Now I'm not sure how difficult building something like this is going to be when using procedural generation to the scale that No Man's Sky is. It could be incredibly difficult or nigh impossible, which is why it could not have been added to the game so far. But multi-biome planets is certainly something I would love to see. One area that I think would benefit from a major update is the underwater areas and just water areas in general on all the planets. Similar to the previous point, all underwater areas look and feel fairly similar, and let's be honest, there isn't much going on down there either. Sure, you can occasionally come across some abyssal horrors, or even less occasionally a crashed ship. Well, what if we're able to find much more? I'm talking sunken settlements, freighters, alien structures where we could get rare and valuable resources, and not to mention having a deep ocean experience which could include caves with rare and valuable treasures in them. I would also like not just underwater expansions but new water features on planets as well, such as rivers and waterfalls. Sure, we can get lakes and such, but no waterfalls or rivers, so being able to create a base right next to a waterfall or creating a small riverside settlement would be a neat addition to the game. And to go with this, improved water physics to make it look even more realistic would be totally awesome, though I'm unsure how the older generation consoles would be able to handle such a graphical improvement. And another thing related to water that I'd like to see is a new type of submarine or water-based exocraft, because the existing Nautilon exocraft is rather basic and not in the slightest bit quick. So I would like to see some sort of high-powered submarine that not only performs better than the current Nautilon exocraft but also looks a lot better as well. And what about if we could see other NPCs exploring the depths of the seas hunting for rare and valuable resources? Similar to how we can currently see them mining asteroids in space, I think it would make the oceans a lot more interesting to explore, because currently I barely venture into the water even though it's almost everywhere on some planets. Now this one could be a more realistic update we could get in 2023, and that is having the space station override finally doing something. I mean, it's been in the game for well over a year and currently does a whole load of absolute nothing. Like, when are Hello Games finally going to give it a purpose, and more importantly, what is the station override actually going to do when it is finally given a purpose? Could we own it and customize it? Something totally different to that? Who knows? What do you guys think the space station override will eventually grant us the ability to do? Let me know in the comments below. And as a side note, I have recently created a video discussing a number of possible abilities for the space station override, so why don't you go and check that out? I'll leave a link to that video in the description below for you. And whilst you're here folks, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. So one thing that seems to divide a bunch of the No Man's Sky community is ship customization. On the one hand, a bunch of players don't want ship customization as they think it would ruin the ship hunting part of the game, and I totally understand that. Whereas on the other hand, there are players, much like myself, who really want to be able to customize the inside and outside of our ships because, well, we just love personalizing things, and it makes it more unique when you go to areas like the space anomaly. I do have a solution to both sides of this, with ship customization being a part of the game, and that gives players the option to customize the ship, but include quests and parts that we have to hunt down instead of giving us these parts available on, say, the space station or the anomaly. That way, the players who like ship hunting still get to hunt parts and ships if they want to, and the players who like to customize ships also get a chance to do that. Simples. Let me know in the comments below if you're a fan of ship hunting or if you are indeed a fan of ship customization and want that as a new feature added to the game. I suppose this next one could be sort of seen as an extension to the Frontiers update, but how about having a larger structure or larger structures and larger settlements on planets? Whilst the settlements updates was awesome, it doesn't take too long to get a little bit bored of it with the limited amounts of things you're actually able to do. I would love for us to be able to expand our settlements even further, adding more buildings to that, having different functions, and this could also give us loads of new quests to undertake and more purpose for exploring the galaxy, to acquire various resources and settlement blueprints to make it epic. Hopefully eventually you create town or city sized settlements. What do you think? I think that would be a really neat addition. And that brings me nicely onto my next one, and you may have heard No Man's Sky being described as this: as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle. Basically, once you've spent a certain amount of time in the game, you've basically seen and done everything. And a game the sheer size of No Man's Sky, that isn't exactly ideal. I know it's mainly a sandbox game with its main aim being exploration, but I think there are a few things that could be done, so I think Hello Games should really start spending some time deepening that puddle rather than widening it more in their next set of updates. So as I've previously mentioned, I'd like to see the settlements feature of No Man's Sky expanded, along with bigger underwater expansion and space station expansion via the space station override. But as well as those, I would like to see a few other things, and these can include more NPC stories. Like, we hear various stories from the past from NPCs, including a lot of conflicts, but there are so many unknowns around these, and we also never see any conflict, apart from the odd freighter battle. So why can't Hello Games expand on these stories and give us new quests to figure out what's going on? I would like to also create custom frigate missions, so rather than selecting one from a list, we could build our own. For example, what if we had a certain amount of rare resources that we needed, upgrades we needed, or just wanted to stock up on minerals found on asteroids, and we could create missions to do exactly that. It would certainly make me spend more time managing my fleet and whatnot, because at the moment I don't really do that. Are there any other things you'd like to see Hello Games add to existing features to deepen in that puddle anymore? Let me know in the comments below. As with these No Man's Sky wishlist videos, I do always include various small updates and quality of life improvements that I think should be included in the game, and these are all certainly realistic updates that we could see in 2023 and beyond. Firstly, can we please have the ability to turn off, or at the very least turn down, the exosuit voice, because I'm sick of hearing it going inventory full or extreme hazard planet. Like, I know, god damn it, just shut up. I also have a few multi-tools, but the main reason for that is not because I'm a collector of multi-tools, but because I can't actually scrap any of the ones I don't use. And the only thing I can do to get rid of them is trade them for yet another multi-tool. So Sean, if you could add in multi-tool scrapping, that would be just swell. I've also had a couple of ideas for powering bases other than solar panels, electromagnetic generators and biofuel reactors. Why can't we harness the power of the wind, because I've seen some damn windy planets, and further to that, if we're building bases underwater or at least near water, can we add hydropower to the equation as well? You know, just a little something to expand on base building. And of course, sticking with base building, I'll always be happy to see new base building parts added to the game, because you can never go wrong with that. This one is a little bugbear of mine, and have you ever noticed when you think you're pointing directly at a planet from space to scan it, and yet when you hit scan, it doesn't actually scan the planet? Why does it do that? It's super frustrating, so I think having a new Starship upgrade to scan all the planets in the system in one go would be absolutely lovely. I know you can do this on freighters already, but I'm in my Starship a lot more. Speaking of looking around at planets, you know when you can see all the planets in the Discoveries tab either with the scan details or without, yet when you're looking around in your ship you can often can't see the planet because it's hidden by another one, and you end up spending loads of time flying around looking for a specific planet. Well, I think we should be able to mark a planet from the Discoveries tab even if we haven't scanned it yet, so that we can then see it in our heads up display and fly on directly over there. And similar to this, I've done quite a few videos in the past around the locations to rare and crash ships, multi-tools and bases, and these often include the on-planet coordinates. Now I would like a new starship upgrade to input the exact on-planet coordinates I want and have it give us a waypoint marker, rather than me spending forever flying around a planet to match up the coordinates. My final small update is one around expeditions. So why are they time based? I know Hello Games keep doing reruns of them, but why can't we just start up any of the previous expeditions at any given time? Sometimes life gets in the way or other game releases get in the way and I find myself missing out on expeditions because I'm busy doing other things. I think all expeditions should be available to start at all times and I really don't see why they're not at the moment. And that, folks, is my wish list for new features, small updates and quality of life improvements I would love to see added to No Man's Sky in 2023. If there are any other things you would like to see added to the game next year and beyond but I haven't mentioned them in this video, join in the conversation below and leave a comment. It's what you'd like to see. I'd love to hear all your thoughts. And if you're still here and you enjoyed this video, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. I will of course be doing more videos like this in the future, along with videos covering all other aspects of No Man's Sky, like amazing bases and locations, tutorials, updates, update rumours and more. So you don't want to miss out on those, right? And as always, thank you for watching and catch you on the flip side.